Happy Friday from the Superbook Sports Studios. Welcome into another episode of the 615 Sessions podcast. Got a lot of different things for you guys today. Titans down bad. The Buffalo trip not going as smoothly as they would have liked. At the time that we are taping this podcast, Friday, September 23rd, we still do not have any information on things like Bud Dupree, who left the game with a hip injury, or Taylor Lewan, who I reported initially was feared to have a season-ending knee injury, but since then, the team has gotten things that have indicated that it might not have been an ACL tear the way that initially was thought, the same right knee. So Lewan flew to Los Angeles this week to see a knee specialist. Still no information on his availability, both immediate and long term. That was a weird way to say that word. Anyway, so today you're going to hear a couple of different conversations. I talked to Amani Hooker, Ola Adeniyi, and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine in the locker room this week. You'll also hear the interview I did on radio, a portion of it, of two interviews I did on radio. One with punter Ryan Stonehouse and a quick bit of Coach Dave McGinnis for some X's and O's breakdowns before this Raiders game. Before we get to any of those things, though, I need to tell you that there aren't a lot of guarantees these days when it comes to the cost of things, especially when you have to wonder what interest rates will be in the future. But my friends at Two Rivers Ford, as usual, are making things easy because they are offering guarantees like great prices and a locked-in interest rate when you custom order a 2023 model year Ford. Right now, when you custom order an F-150, Explorer, Ranger, Edge, Bronco, Sport, Escape, or Mustang, they'll guarantee 2.9% APR for 60 months for all qualified buyers. They'll also give you $500 bonus cash on top of their already low prices. The best prices and guaranteed rates, all at a locally owned dealership with non-commissioned salespeople. Custom order your next Ford from Two Rivers.
Coming out of a game like that, obviously, you do what you can to be prepared, but what is the biggest correction that you guys are trying to make after a result like that?
I think it's getting back to our basics, getting back to who we are as a team. Obviously you never want to have a loss like that, but the best thing we can do is find the positives from all the negatives that we had, and then also not overshadowing the positives that we did have in the game.
You guys, made do with different pieces and parts, throughout the course of the seasons when injuries happen, but the amount of young guys that are playing right now and trying to keep them from focusing on, trying to play perfectly as opposed to just playing as fast as possible and executing. What's kind of the balance been like that for you and Kevin to manage that group?
I think it's the preparation throughout the week, leading up to the game. I mean, stacking the days, stacking the W's, and making sure that by the time the game day does come, you trust your preparation that you can go out there and just play fast and have fun.
Was it an interception?
I think it was an interception. I mean, when they didn't review it, I was thinking like, damn, I must have really been out of bounds. But I mean, when I look back and saw it, I'm like, well, I did have the ball and my feet. I got 2 feet in bounds. So.
Did you talk to the ref afterwards?
I didn't even talk to the ref afterwards. I mean, the next play happened so fast. They snapped the ball, so I couldn't even really get my process in.
Thanks, Mike. I know you've been working through some stuff right now, but it seems like you've been able to get back out there. What's kind of been the process like for you working through all this?
Oh, man, opportunity that I can't let go. I just got to keep coming out there trying to work and, fight through it.
For you guys, has there been any sense of like how many different injuries have disrupted the things that you're trying to do, the execution part of it, or what's been kind of the thing, if there's any common thread that you found through these two guys?
I mean, this is the National Football League. Everybody goes through stuff, but you just got to be able to fight through it and be able to play through it. And I feel like, what I'm dealing with is something that I can play through, and, each and every one of us, every guy in this locker room, if they can't play, everybody wants to play. So we just got to keep fighting.
For you, the opportunities, you've gotten more and more of them. You've obviously earned them since you've been here with the Titans. How much have your teammates worked to kind of, be able to put you in those positions and kind of make sure that you can take advantage of those opportunities?
Oh, man, from Bud to Weed to Nico, everybody in our room working together, just, if just the fine-tune things that we can do, And, everybody in our room is different. Everybody contributes differently. So what I'm good at, I try to work on it. What I'm not good at, I get help from my teammates and, guys in the room. So, things like that, we all hold each other accountable, and we all trying to make each other better.
As a team, you guys have had an uncharacteristic amount of penalties through these first two games. I know it's like different groups and stuff like that, but the amount of young guys that you're playing, trying to get them to not necessarily focus on playing perfectly, but just trying to execute what they're doing to the best, is that kind of factored into some of those things?
Oh, man, not just the young guys, but that's everybody, They want us to come out here, play fast, have fun, but, you know what I'm saying? They know that everything's not going to be perfect, and they don't want us to be perfect, but they just want us to effort and finish. They preach effort and finish each and every day, details, technique, and fundamentals. If we keep coming out to do that, we'll be good.
Thanks, Ola. I don't know how far along you are in your tape study so far this week, but the Raiders kind of giving up the lead to the Cardinals the way that they did. What kind of stands out about their defense, and have you made it through that part of the tape study yet?
Yeah, I haven't even made it to that second half yet. But, they've got players, all around the board on defense, solid in the secondary. And then obviously up front, they've got some guys up there that can make some plays. So, they're a sound defense. They're going to throw a lot of different stuff at us. So the biggest thing is us being able to be prepared and be able to play fast when we get through those different looks.
It's not like, you go into a game like last week and the result being what it is. It's not for a lack of preparation and things like that, but kind of what are the biggest corrections that you guys are looking to make coming off of that one?
Yeah, I feel like one of the biggest things is just playing fast and not trying to be perfect. I feel like, that there was several times out there where it was like we're trying to be perfect, and if anything, it just makes you play, a little slower, or, you're gripping too hard trying to, hope for a good result or be perfect, and then it ends up slipping through your hand. So there's a lot of little, details and missed opportunities that just piled up. And I feel like, going into this week, learning from that and just playing fast and being decisive what we do.
Can that be a result? I mean, you guys have got a lot of young guys that are working, and is that a part of what that, looking to be perfect type of thing is, and maybe leading to some of those mistakes? Can that factor in?
Yeah, it definitely can. But I feel like, it wasn't just young guys. I feel like it was guys all across the board, including myself. So I feel like, if anything, it's wanting to be perfect, wanting to, blow a team out, wanting to be the best offense you can be. And sometimes it's like if you, try too hard, it almost hurts you in the end. So I feel like, we just got to play fast, like I said, and just be decisive.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, Mater Dei's a complete powerhouse, in my opinion. It just breeds winning there. It doesn't matter, what your skill level is. A lot of guys go into that program maybe not as refined, and you come out, of there being a really good athlete just because of the atmosphere and the culture that Mater Dei has. I got to play with guys like Amon St. Brown, JT Daniels, and even Chase McGrath, one of my best friends here, kicks for Tennessee. Just guys like that, it really does breed success. And what Coach Rawlinson has done there year in and year out with new guys, the turnover that they have there, it's just a testament to what he is as a coach.
McGrath has had a great season so far for them. I know it's pretty early on in the college football season, but so you've been keeping tabs on the Vols since he transferred?
Oh, absolutely. We talk almost every day, and yeah, absolutely. I follow him all the time, and yeah, he's a stud, and I'm happy to see him succeed.
With have you guys talked about Florida Week? This is my executive producer is a Tennessee alumni. Everybody I work with are basically Vols at this point. It's completely infected everything that I've tried to do over the course of the last week. Have you talked to him about the Gators and the upcoming game?
Oh yeah, he's excited. I think as a team, they're excited to step up and to the challenge and continue the season they're having. But I think that there's an excitement around that program.
I don't know if you've heard the audio, Ryan, of your teammate, as you mentioned, Amon St. Brown, talking about players that were drafted ahead of him, particularly one across the sidelines from him this week as the Lions got their first win of the season. Yeah. His people have gotten to know him, I think, a lot more by nature of Hard Knocks and things like that. But that mindset, it's not unique, but it is kind of jarring when you have somebody like that who's clearly succeeding at a high level, but still is taking every slight perceived, real or perceived, that seriously, where he's staring down guys across the sideline that got drafted ahead of him.
He's been like that forever, ever since I met him in high school. He's been the same guy, He had that chip on it when he went to SC, Coming out of the draft, he had that same chip. And he's just out to show people that, his size is not a reflection of his ability. And I think that, he's going to continue to do that, but it's crazy because he's still the same guy that he was. And I'm happy to see him, succeed, but he's always going to keep receipts and tabs on that kind of stuff. That just drives him, it gives him an extra edge. And I think a lot of people are like that. Maybe not as outspoken, but there's a lot more people like that than probably meet the eye.
Titans punter Ryan Stonehouse here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Hunter Renfrow is currently questionable. Obviously, he's had great success both as a receiver and a returner in the league, so we'll see what his status is. But what's kind of the scouting report on their special teams group as you head into Sunday's game?
Yeah, AJ's a great punter. Daniel's a great kicker. Trent Sieg and I actually played together at Colorado State for a year. They're a long snapper. But yeah, the returners are great. I always have respect for returners. They're great athletes. They make plays, and as a punter, you're trying to eliminate as many, X plays as you can from a returner. So yeah, if it's Hunter back there, that's great. I'm always looking for a challenge. And, I think our punt team is rolling right now. And I think that, like I said, whatever I can do this week to help us win is what we're going to try to do.
These returners, all football players, no matter what position, are insane people as far as the rest of the civilians are concerned, just by nature of what you guys do for a living. But, returners seem to be a particularly kind of crazy, like kamikaze pilots kind of running into the face of people screaming down to knock the hell out of them and try and get the ball out of their hands. Have you ever hit a punt and thought to yourself as it was being returned, I am shocked that this dude is taking it out right now. He has no shot.
Oh yeah, they have a lot of confidence in their returns, and rightfully so. The exhilaration of a punt return touchdown is crazy. It's a crazy play. It can shift a game. So it doesn't shock me sometimes when some of these guys do take it out, or on the back pedal and take it. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for returners. They're studs. Almost every single one of them that I've met, has some edge to him, something to prove.
Titans punter Ryan Stonehouse has been kind enough to be our guest before he heads out on the practice field for another day of work. Ryan, continued health and success, and we appreciate you stopping by, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Ryan Stonehouse. Tennessee and the Raiders with the man who's going to be on the call, one of several. Coach Dave McGinnis, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans, like an extra set of pads since 1947. Mac and Farm Bureau Health Plans makes it happen. What's going on, my guy?
Hey, Buck. Yeah, I'm up here getting ready to go out to practice. So let's talk a little ball here.
Let's do it. So looking at, they are not as bad as 41-7, Mac. Obviously, there's been a lot of strong reactions off of that. But that seems like one of those games where there's going to be corrections made, but on the whole, they're going to look at it and say, okay, we didn't have it today. And maybe that's the media perspective on it as opposed to what the coaching staff is going to think. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, I can tell you from a coaching perspective, you never were able to gain any traction, basically, after halftime, because it's a 10-7 ball game, for a fourth down, and then, you have Stephon Diggs go across the back of the end zone and intercept a ball that was meant for somebody else clear across the field, and all of a sudden it's 17-7. You're able to gain zero traction. You were never able to gain any traction running the football, and then when you turn the ball over to any kind of team, and I don't care how you rank teams in this league, Buck, you know this, and your listeners are sophisticated enough to know this too. In this league, you turn the ball over to any team in your territory, the chances of you winning go way down. Well, you start doing it against an elite team like that, then you've got issues. And that's why the third quarter was such a nightmare. And so you did things in that game that, prevent you from winning. And so to say that, this football team, it was a 41-7 on the scoreboard, but you self-destructed in the third quarter because the fourth quarter was just, nothing. So I go back to the first half of that ball game. Now, here's the other thing too, Buck, that I'm looking at, when I look at it, you always go into games looking at matchups, who you have available, who they have available. And, and you've got to admit Buffalo, a pretty strong unit, and they won those matchups. And so when those types of things happen, now for 41-7, I mean, things have to really get out of hand, and they did in the third quarter.
Is Derrick Henry at this point, because Derrick has had slow starts before, Mac, it's not overwhelmingly concerning so early on in the season, but are what we're seeing from the rushing attack more generally a product of what's in the backfield or what's in front of them right now, not necessarily being able to execute at the level that they expect?
Yeah, I don't think we've in my humble opinion, that we've given Derrick much room to run to begin with so far. And when you look at it, Derrick Henry, he's like anybody else. He needs some help, being able to get past the line of scrimmage. So you've got to get some push, some consistent push, and that's what I'm talking about when I talk about traction. You need to get traction in the running game to make people start to respect it, and we have not done that yet. So it's everybody that's involved. I mean, it's the entire blocking unit. It's Derrick Henry. Everybody has to work together in sync, and it just hasn't been there. But the first thing that has to happen, you've got to get a hat on a hat across the board. There's no running play in the National Football League that's ever been designed not to block somebody. So you've got to be able to get, whether you're combo blocking, whether you're single blocking, whether you're drive blocking, whether you're reach blocking, which all of those different runs that they have, have some of those elements to it. If you don't get that done in conjunction with the guy next to you, you've got problems. I don't think that we've had, and I know we haven't, because I sit there and watch it just like you do, and then I go back and look at the tape, and I'm sure the coaches see the same thing. They need traction first, and they need it with the blocking unit up front, because Derrick Henry, to me, given just a little bit of crack, a little bit of crease, but he can't do it by himself. Neither can the line do it. They've got to have Henry, make the proper cuts. But to make the proper cuts, you need to have the proper pieces blocked to begin with. So they all need to do better. It's not good enough. It's not good enough to get the running game traction, which you need for the play action game, Buck.
Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio. Okay, appreciate Amani, Ola, Nick, Ryan, and Coach Mack for their time, and for you guys, as always, for stopping by on this Friday. I'm heading to Knoxville. I have never been to a Tennessee game at Neyland Stadium. I've really never been to a real college football game. Did a couple of Vandy games when I was broke and starving and needed the money to do some press box PA work. But outside of that, this is going to be the first real college football experience, live college football experience that I've ever had. That being said, since I'm going to Knoxville, from Nashville to Knoxville and all around the country, Superbook Sports is your place to wager this football season. You don't need to be at the game like I'm going to be to enjoy all the football this fall. Download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com and start placing your bets today. They have lines up for every pro football game for the rest of the season, plus great odds boosts on the Titans, the Vols, all other local teams. Superbook Sports accepts wagers on football and every other major sport. So you can bring Vegas to the palm of your hand, and they'll match 100% of your first bet up to $1,000, no matter if it wins or loses. So get in on the action right now with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. All right, so we'll see what happens between the Titans and the Raiders. We'll do the primetime show since it's a noon game, we'll see if we do the primetime show from Nissan Stadium. But we will do the primetime show after the result and talk about it together. Down 0-3 or getting their first win of the season. We will wait to see. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next Friday, easy for me to say, on the 615 Sessions podcast.